It's been difficult 24 hours for the club.
Yeah.
Can you get your reaction to the news on Peter?
Well, obviously it's before my time, of course, and it'd be very, very difficult for me to comment because I don't know enough about it. So, a very, very difficult time, though. You're right.
We saw pictures of Andy Carroll out on the training pitch earlier in the week. Could he be involved against Brighton tomorrow?
As long as he comes through today, okay. Touch wood, he'd come through today, okay. But yes, he will be involved, which is good news for all of us at the top end of the pitch. Him and Allan Saint-Maximin as well. We have been a little bit short, and Dwight Gayle is another one. So we have had limited options up top, but certainly the return of Andy and Allan will give us something which obviously can only benefit us.
That can totally change things, can it? Because it means you have options, you can change things.
Well, we've been a little bit hamstrung. You know, we've been dealt a cruel blow with injuries since the start of the season. Really, you know, Lejeune, you know, we've had good news about him, but we've had some long-term ones with Yedlin and now Dwight Gayle and Andy. We always knew wasn't going to be right for a while. But that gives us certainly better options in the forward areas.
How excited are you at the prospect of Andy Carroll back out there in a black and white shirt?
Well, we all know that if Andy stays fit, then he's a wonderful, wonderful centre forward. A bit old school, if you like to say that, but certainly of his type, I don't think there's been anybody better in the last 8-10 years when he's been playing. You know, if that certain type of old-fashioned centre forward, then Andy Carroll, a fit Andy Carroll, then is going to be huge, and it'll be great for us going forward. That's for sure.
What has he been like around the place since he arrived? Because speaking to somebody who played, it sounds like he's been really good in the dressing room.
Well, I think I said it a month ago that it's not young Andy Carroll anymore. It's an experienced Andy Carroll, and if he can pass on, and the one couple of conversations I had on him when we were signing was, can he be a help in the dressing room? You know, can he help the young people that we've got and the young lads we've got of the pitfalls, what surrounds it, and what's it like to play at this club and the demands of this club? And you know, it's only a small little city, and you're certainly under the scrutiny of the eyes of everybody. So, in that respect, he's been terrific. We've seen an upturn in training just because he's out there too. You can just sense it a little bit. So, he's give everybody a lift at the right time.
I asked Joe Linton yesterday, should defenders or Premier League defences be scared of the twin threat of himself alongside Andy Carroll? It's a physical, and of course they can play a bit too. But I seen Joe Linton play for Hoffenheim against Man City. He played towards the left. He's done that throughout his career. You know, a lot of teams play with 3 forwards these days, and so I've got no problems if I have to play the 2 of them, or even St. Allan is there as well, the 3 of them. It's not a problem, that's what they're here for. Do you feel, Steve, that the tide is beginning to turn? And what I mean by that is the support that perhaps you weren't getting at the start. Do you feel maybe a few people's minds are changing given some performances?
I think I said at the time, Keith, that the only thing that will change is if I get a few results. And you could see a little bit when we got a huge result down at Spurs a couple of weeks ago. And I've said many, many times that the only way that I can get people thinking positively is that we can produce a few results. Now we've got a wonderful opportunity tomorrow to go and get our second win of the season. If that can happen, then with the teams that we've had and the start that we've had, we always knew it was going to be difficult. But I think people are starting to look, you know, take that negativity away if possible. And, you know, I'm going to show everybody that I only want what's best for the club and take the club forward, and I'll do my utmost to try and make that happen.
Is there a little bit of frustration that there could have been a little bit more? Your performances perhaps deserve a little bit more than to see you in the bottom 3, and also the cup match as well. Where
we lost on penalties in the cup, but played very, very well. I think we always knew when you've got 3 of the top 5, 3 of the top 6 maybe. In your opening month or 2, then we knew it was going to be difficult. We've got the top 6 in the opening 9 games of the season, so we knew. And it's the accumulation of points over the season. You know, we've had, you know, a tough start, but we've
managed to pick up a few points. These are the big games that we have now against Brighton, and the teams that we think are going to be in and around us. And so all of a sudden I've heard people say it's a cup final and this, that and the other. It's not quite that, but these are big games when the team's around you.
Steve, you're talking about the games against the top six. Just reflecting quickly back on Liverpool, how much can you learn from a game like that against such high quality opposition?
Well, make no mistake, they're high quality, all right. And I think the big thing that you have to take on board in the opening game of the season against Arsenal and against Liverpool, we made errors, and certainly against big teams like that, you're going to get punished, and you certainly will get punished in the Premier League. So, them mistakes that we've made, we'll have to eradicate. Whether that's concentration or what have you. That is the big disappointment for me. Liverpool, up until they scored, hadn't really had a shot at our goal. And then all of a sudden we've made a mistake, and before you know it, 5 minutes later we've made another one. So them are the disappointing things, but overall we've got to be quite pleased of how we've gone about it.
And certainly defensively relatively sound, very, very structured, but going forward, I know we've talked about Andy coming back into the squad, but 4 goals in 5 games so far. How much of a concern has that been for you so far?
Well, I think when you play against the big teams, there you have to have some sort of structure in place. And of course, always the problem in the Premier League is, can we score enough? And history tells you here in the last couple of years we've had a struggle with that. But we're not alone. I think that's the hardest part. I think every team is defensively structured, and that's why at the top end of the pitch you need something different. And certainly with the Andy Carroll coming back, and hopefully Dwight Gayle around the corner, and certainly Allan, then that gives us a bigger threat than what we previously had. So I hope that they can all stay fit now for a prolonged period, because the more options in forward areas you have, obviously the better.
You mentioned Allan there. Is he looking good for this weekend as well?
Yeah, as long as he comes through today okay as well, then he's in contention as well, yeah.
Just another one of the forwards, obviously Miguel Almiron scoring for Paraguay in the international break. What can that do for his confidence? Have you spoken with him since he's come back?
Yeah, I've spoke with him every day. The kid scored goals before he got here. Now, the big difference, of course, now is that it's the Premier League, so it's a bit different the way he was playing. That's for sure. So I'm convinced, like any striker, once he gets one and he cracks it, then we hope that he go on to make a few. But his contribution towards the team is enormous. He's had a big influence. May not have scored the goals, but certainly since January, I think he gave everybody a lift in January, so I'm led to believe. And I've got no qualms with him, because he's a really good team play. Yes, we all want him to get off the mark, and let's hope tomorrow that it's his day.
You talk about Miguel obviously giving the players a lift in January. Just going back to Andy Carroll, have you seen the effect that he's had on the players over the last few days? The fact that he looked like he was going to...
I think since he's got himself fit and he's been in and around outside on the grass, then of course training with us for the last week, it's been pretty evident that he's give everybody a lift, and hopefully he can give the whole supporters a lift too. He's the local lad who's come back home, so good to see him involved again.
Just on Brighton as well, I know you talked there about the pressure, people turning it as cup finals, these sort of games at St James's Park. How confident are you now, you've been here a few months, that you've seen the players play, how confident are you that they can deal with the pressure of these so-called 6
Well, the vast majority of the team have been here for a good while now. The nucleus or core, if you like, have been here, so I think they understand the demands. I think they understand too the importance of a game against Brighton. It's ridiculous to talk about cup finals already, but we understand that in and around the teams that you think you're going to be up against, and Brighton have had a total change of philosophy and style under their new manager. So it'll be a difficult game. They all are in the Premier League. Every team's got good players. However, we're at home, wonderful opportunity, and let's hope we can get our first home win.
Just a couple of final ones. I know we've talked about Allan Saint-Maximin already. I don't know if you'd seen the social media video doing the rounds of his 2 daughters handing the money over to the homeless man. How do you sum him up as a character, as a person around the club?
Well, he's certainly a character. He's certainly a character, and he is what you see on the pitch. he's that offer too. You know, he wants to entertain, but deep down he's interested to generally go to see the homeless places, and he's been and doing lots of stuff like that. So that doesn't surprise me. You know, we all want one thing. We all want him on the pitch and playing well. And he's certainly, as I said when we first signed him, that he's got that ability to get people off their seats and do something a bit different. And he's certainly different off the pitch as well. So I'm sure I'll have many awkward nights with him. But all in all, we've just concentrated on one thing, which is to try and get him back on the pitch.
Just finally from me, we've seen a lot of talk over the last 7 days in particular, but it's been growing over the last few years about this style of playing out from the back, obviously the introduction of a new rule. How do you view that as a manager? Not something that you'd go with, or?
Well, you have to adapt to it, but certainly the big teams now, it's quite remarkable that, you know, the two centre-backs are getting in their own 6-yard box, and I've seen one playing 1-2s in their own 18-yard box. It's an opportunity for the big teams to open up the pitch even more, and that's what they're trying to achieve. But certainly it's 100 yards away from your goal, so it's a bit too early to be doing it, but we're all going to be different, and I'm sure of that.
That's it.
Steve, Andy Carroll, with his injury record, is there a temptation for his latest manager, to wrap him up in cotton wool to manage his workload?
Yeah, I think we have to try and manage him if we can. But at the end of the day, he's had an operation on an ankle. So once his ankle is okay, then of course, you know, how do we manage that? And certainly now with Andy being the age he is, he'll know what he'll need himself. And there come a time when where it was just time for him to come and join in training, and not throw him in at the deep end, but it was all then. He's done enough straight line running, he'd done enough all the rehabilitation, he'd been doing it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Now of course is joining in and people tackling you and twisting and turning and all the stuff that goes with playing football, and he's come through all week, and touch wood, let's hope his ankle stays well, because certainly he'll be a big help to us going forward.
I suppose one of the challenges of this weekend is you're going from a match with low expectation perhaps to a game with extremely high expectation, given Brighton's struggles in the last few games. Yeah,
I mean, they're totally different under the new manager to what they were. Certainly the playing style, they play similar to us. We've played 3 centre-backs, so they're probably going through that transition. They had a wonderful start when they won 3-0 away from home, and they're a bit different. I mean, under the new manager, they're all possession based. So they're a good side though. They've got good players. That's the Premier League, you know. We're up against a very decent side, but it's a big opportunity for ourselves too. You know, it'd be wonderful if we can get a result tomorrow, which would give everybody a lift.
And you'd be telling your players to be patient, presumably.
Well, that's a key to it, because as I said, they're content to be in possession. They want possession of the ball, wherever area of the pitch they're in. So we'll have to be a bit patient and take our chances when they come along.
Been talking about injuries. Sharon Longstaff, are they okay?
Longstaff's not going to make it, unfortunately. He hasn't joined in yet, so maybe the end of next week.
And Cher?
Cher's okay. Yes, he's okay. It was cramp. Sorry.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks chaps. Cheers. Oh.